Hey, what's going on? Luke here. We're here to talk about one of the first rumours for season 2021. Now, going into the season or finishing up the Christmas sort of period, I thought, there's going to be heaps of rumours to talk about, but there hasn't really been too much. And I can't really pinpoint the reason. Usually at this time, there's heaps of stuff to be talked about. There's heaps of player transfers, heaps of rumours and that, but there's nothing really to talk about. And maybe it's because of COVID, maybe it's because teams have already got their squads already ready. I don't really know, but there is one that we can talk about, and that's Cameron McInnes. Now, he's the Dragons captain. He's a fan favourite there. He's been there for a couple of seasons after leaving the Rabbitohs. He had Damien Cook in front of him. There's no way he was getting ahead of Damien Cook. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about whether it's him or Damien Cook for the hook position for New South Wales, and obviously Damien Cook ended up getting it. But it was a tight contest for a little bit, but I think we can all say Damien Cook ended up the better hooker. But that's not what we're talking about. We're here to talk about what his future holds. Now, at the moment, the past season, look, he's the Dragons captain, but I don't think he's got his position set in stone. Now, that seems crazy because I was just talking about him possibly being the New South Wales hooker. I'm pretty sure he was in the New South Wales squad and everything. But at the Dragons, at least under Paul McGregor, as close as he was to Paul McGregor, and I think whoever took over for a little bit, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he wasn't the guaranteed hooker. Now, it seems crazy, but they have Ben Hunt at the club, who I think is actually the best hooker at the club, if we're being real. As much as I really, really rate Cameron McInnes, Ben Hunt is a really, really good hooker. It's just that he can play halfback too, and they've signed him on halfback money. Well, at least they signed him with the intention of him being halfback, McInnes being the hooker. However, he hasn't really produced a halfback, at least not to the level of the money that he's on. And he's on a super long contract too, so it's not like they can shift him off elsewhere. Whereas McInnes, other teams would take him, so I feel like he's kind of more inclined to leave than Ben Hunt is, and I think they're more inclined to move Ben Hunt to hooker rather than punt Ben Hunt, which means Cameron McInnes. What does it mean for him? It means that he's either going to play a lock or he's going to go. Now, I think going into 2021, they will start with McInnes at hooker. They'll start with Ben Hunt at halfback. And I think even, to be honest with you, the Dragons' problems, I think it's Corey Norman. I think he's a huge problem. I think they're better off going with Adam Clune in the half somewhere. And Corey Norman, I don't know, I'd punt him. I'd be looking to get rid of Corey Norman if I was the Dragons. But the heat always seems to be on Ben Hunt for some reason, despite him having Corey Norman on big money. Although Corey Norman has been getting a bit of criticism as of late, especially considering he has played for Queensland. For all the hate Ben Hunt gets, Corey Norman, big money, and he always has been on big money from Parramatta to the Dragons, and he's never really delivered, especially when times were tough as well. They shifted him to fullback, they've moved him to 5'8", and I think that's been the big downfall for the Dragons in the sense that they shift everyone around to try and accommodate them rather than just pick their best side. There's been times where, like Dufty, he got dropped and moved Corey Norman to fullback because they're so hell-bent on getting Corey Norman into that side rather than picking their best actual 17. And Cameron McInnes is a big sufferer of that because he's gone there, he signed for the Dragons as a hooker, and you'd probably say Cameron McInnes is probably in about the top 5 hookers in the game. So having a really, really good hooker is so valuable, and a lot of other clubs would kill to have Cameron McInnes. They would kill to have Ben Hunt at hooker, and Dragons got both of them, and they're trying to accommodate both of them. And the logical thing is Ben Hunt at halfback, Cameron McInnes at hooker, like they had planned. But as soon as Ben Hunt drops in form a little bit, they're like, all right, we've got to chuck him at hooker, we've got to chuck him on the bench. McInnes can play a lock, and it really hampers McInnes' game. I know he can play a lock. That's not a problem. He can play there, but he shouldn't have to play there. He's a hooker. He's gone there. He's on hooker money. He wants to play hooker. It's kind of a similar thing to Brandon Smith. Yes, they can play other positions, but do they have to? Do they want to? Not particularly. And should they have to? No. Brandon Smith is capable of playing hooker, same way as Cameron McInnes is. We know Cameron McInnes is capable of being world-class hooker. Look, is he going to be like an absolute superstar? Probably not. Look, his game is like a very, very solid hooker. He's not like super explosive or anything, but he's a guy who plays 80 minutes and he goes for that 80 minutes. He's constantly going to be in the contest. And if you chuck him into a top side, like if you chuck him in the Rooster side, people be raving about Cameron McInnes. Big time. They already do rave about him, but even more so. It's just that the Dragons aren't winning and he's a product of the Dragons losing. Probably similar to a guy like Tyson Frizzell. Look, he probably isn't playing that bad. It's just the Dragons aren't really doing much. Therefore, he looks kind of shit in that side. So I think Cameron McInnes, if he moved to a team like the Tigers, where it become sort of his side, like it has been. I mean, Cameron McInnes is winning Dragons Player of the Year, year after year, by the looks of things. I'm pretty certain he just won the previous one. And if he isn't winning it, he's definitely right up there because he's always one of the best players. Whether he's playing lock, whether he's playing hooker, you could chuck him at fullback or something and he'd probably be one of the better players. He's just a good footballer, and you can probably chuck him at any position and he'd do a job for you. But hooker, I think, is his best position, and I think that's what the Tigers need. There's been a lot of talk about signing Brandon Smith, and they had Harry Grant. They wanted to keep him. I mean, I think every club would want to keep Harry Grant, to be honest with you. but especially the Storm, especially with the Cameron Smith situation. So Storm definitely not letting that happen. But I don't know if they're going to get Brandon Smith. Looks like he might be looking to go to Queensland, or even, you know, got the Bulldogs at Titans. You got a fair few teams who are after Brandon Smith. So that makes you look at a guy like Cameron Mcinnes, who you probably wouldn't say is necessarily unhappy, but you haven't really heard anything, but there's got to be something there. I mean, the rumours are that he has met, I think there might even be confirmed, that he did meet with Michael McGuire, the head coach of the Tigers. So that's where these rumours have come from. That's why I'm talking about this, because you don't just go and meet with another coach from another club for no reason. He's definitely talking about the possibility of moving there. And honestly, I feel like the Dragons would accommodate that. I feel like their salary cap probably isn't in the best of shape, especially look at their roster. I feel like they've got a lot of money in their forwards. The fact that they just lost Frizzell, that seems to be a big sign for me. They've lost James Graham. They haven't really replaced him with anyone, so they probably don't have a lot of cap space. Otherwise, do you think they'd be replacing these players with at least spending some of the money? So Cameron Mcinnes, if he's someone that they sort of see as a guy they can at least move around, you'd think that there's a chance that he's going to go for the Tigers as well, or at least be able to move to another club. Whether it's the Tigers, whether it's the Bulldogs, whether it's Titans, I don't care who it is. He'd probably be a good fit for the Titans too, especially just being so solid as he is. And even if Mcinnes turns to shit as hooker, at least you know you're going to get a decent lock. Similar to Brandon Smith, he is capable of playing there, but yeah, I think you're definitely playing a hooker. He's definitely, his best position is hooker. But yeah, you don't go and talk to other teams if there's no intentions of going somewhere. And even if it results in him getting an upgrade, I don't know if that's what he's going for, but I feel like it's going to at least benefit Cameron Mcinnes from talking to other teams. And whether the Dragons like it or not, I think it's going to happen. Look, end of the day, he's going to get an upgrade, and he probably deserves an upgrade. When he came to the club, he was kind of like a fringe first grader. He played a little bit of first grade at the Rabbitohs, but as we talked at the start of the video, Damien Cook was the first choice. He even had guys like Isaac Luke ahead of him. I think Coruscant was in there around at the same time. He wasn't going to get a go at the Rabbitohs. I think that was pretty clear. Just too much talent in the hooker position at the Rabbitohs, and he went to the Drags. He took his opportunity, and he's been phenomenal since then. He's really made himself a great first grader, a borderline Origin player who's in the Origin squad, and he deserves to be paid like it. And especially when the Dragons are throwing big contracts at guys like Corey Norman, even guys like Zach Lomax, who, as good as he's been this year, hasn't really shown a lot in previous years as well. So Dragons don't mind throwing out the big contracts. Ben Hunt, another one, we're just talking about him. They don't mind throwing out the big contracts, but Mcinnes, he's probably looking at it and going, man, I bust my ass for this side, and you know, you're letting a guy like Tyson Frizzell go, surely you're going to upgrade me. So at least that's in his thought process, in my opinion, and I think if he can, I think it'd be a great move for him to get out of the Dragons, because I don't really see the Dragons going upwards. I mean, the Tigers, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if they're going in the right direction either, but Cameron Mcinnes would be a fantastic signing for him. You add in, at fullback, you got Dewey. I think he's a pretty solid player. Your halves, I mean, you got Luke Brooks. I don't know who's going to partner him. Maybe Dewey, maybe Mbaya. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but you do have some quality players. They just need that hooker. Now, I don't think it's going to be an automatic solution for the Tigers to just chuck in Cameron Mcinnes and hope everything works, because we saw they had Harry Grant, who's literally the next prodigy in the NRL. He's probably the next big thing. He's already playing for Queensland and he was at the team, and they weren't really winning. They were kind of doing alright, but they weren't necessarily world beaters, and they still had Benji Marshall there controlling the side and that. So I don't really know what the Tigers have up their sleeves. I mean, they signed James Roberts as well, so if they were able to land Cameron Mcinnes, I'm not even suggesting like a mid-season switch or anything. I'm just talking about going forward. I think he'd be a great signing, but I think he'd be a great signing for so many sides. Like, I'm a Bulldog supporter. I've been talking about Brandon Smith. He's a must-have for the Bulldogs and that. But I want 100% take Cameron Mcinnes. I might even rate Cameron Mcinnes higher than Brandon Smith at this point. As good as Brandon Smith is, we haven't really seen him play too much hooker compared to Mcinnes, who is an out-and-out hooker. He's sort of a hooker who's just been shoved into the lock position, whereas Brandon Smith more so has played lock, prop, all that for a couple of years now, and then slotted in at hooker every now and again. But yeah, with the Dragons, they're such a weird side. They should be doing so much better than what they are. And Cameron Mcinnes is a perfect example of that. You have a guy who showed so much form for them, has put his heart and soul into this Dragon side. He's the captain of your side, and you go in and you take him and you shove him into the lock position for just purely based off the fact that Ben Hunt isn't playing good enough for your standards. Nothing to do with Cameron Mcinnes. It baffles me. But at the same time, I kind of understand it at the same time as well, because Ben Hunt has played very, very well at hooker. I think his position is probably hooker. He's a guy who's good enough to play hooker and halfback, but I think his actual position is hooker, but he just wants to be a halfback. He wants the money of halfback. And maybe not even the money of a halfback, because you probably get similar amounts, but he just likes the thought of leading around the side, despite maybe his inabilities to do it at times. But I think he's got great vision for a hooker and all that. Whereas Cameron McInnes, he's, like I said, he's very solid, but you're not going to get that same attacking sort of quality about you as you would with Ben Hunt. But you're going to, at the same time, you're going to get way better defense with Cameron McInnes. You're going to get great line speed, great energy. You're going to get a lot of good stuff from Cameron McInnes. So look, honestly, they're probably pretty similar. And for that reason, I'm like, well, why would you not just keep Cameron McInnes at the hook position? But I think it all stems down to Ben Hunt, really, what they do with Ben Hunt, and whether Cameron McInnes is okay with being shifted around, because I feel like he probably, maybe short-term he is, long-term probably not. And especially considering you look at the relationship he had with McGregor, it looked like he had a pretty close bond with McGregor. They brought in a new coach, Hook. He just seems to have a falling out with all of these players, so I would not be surprised if McInnes has even had a falling out already, or will have a falling out with him. But yeah, Tigers, they look like a pretty likely destination. Now, I think I rambled on enough about this subject. I'd love for you guys to jump into the comment section below and let me know, what are your thoughts on Cameron McInnes signing with the Tigers? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's not going to happen? Do you think he's just doing it to get an upgrade from the Dragons? Because there's definitely something happening. He's met with Michael McGuire. He's not going to do that for no reason. So something is 100% happening. It's just a matter of what are his intentions. Now, do you think he'd be a good signing for the Tigers, or a bad signing, or should he do it? Is it a bad move for Cameron McInnes? Is he going to go there and stagnate and fall off the radar in terms of playing for New South Wales and that sort of stuff? Or is he going to take his game to another level? I mean, realistically, he's going to go to the Tigers. He's going to at least play his actual position rather than get shifted around. But he's going to be playing in probably a weaker forward pack, probably not a better team in general. And we've seen a guy like Harry Grant, who, as good as he's been, couldn't get the Tigers going, really. I mean, they're playing all right, but they weren't a top 8 side, I would say. They were kind of just the same old Tigers. So the Tigers are peripheral 9th place finishers. So Cameron McInnes, if he signs there, he's going to go there knowing that 9th position seems to be as good as the Tigers get. But I suppose for him, he'd be signing thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to take him to the top. But I mean, is it going to happen? Who knows? But that's what I want to know in the comment section below. Go ahead and let me know, do you think it's a good move for Cameron McInnes wherever he ends up? Also, while you're at it, you may as well go ahead and give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell as well. Let you be notified straight away when I've actually uploaded. I mean, it's not NRL off season. Videos you're probably not searching for them all the time. So if you're really keen on watching the videos on my channel, I'm going to be posting fairly regularly. Maybe not every day, but fairly regularly. Whenever there's rumors and stuff to actually talk about. Probably got some previews and team reviews and that sort of stuff. There's plenty of signings happening. At least I hope so. Anyways, because it's really got to pick up. But there's going to be plenty of content to make over the off season. So turn on the notification bell. You get a little notification on your phone. You click on the video, watch it straight away. Don't have to worry about whether I've uploaded or not. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on social media. Probably kind of the same sort of principle. Probably post links to the videos and talk about videos that I'm going to make and that sort of stuff. So go ahead and give me a follow on that. It's on the screen right now. But guys, that's enough rambling. Like I said, I'm just rambling at this point. So I'm going to end the video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.